Have you ever taken time out of your day just to be present in the moment that you're currently in solitude, in silence, in stillness, and in peace? Have you paid attention to your body, to your surroundings, like what's going on around you? What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you smell? Are you fully aware of that moment that you're in? Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Becoming Brittany J. My name is Brittany J, of course, and this channel is all about peace, growth, and guidance. Today's topic is mindfulness. So, what is mindfulness? So, I've done a lot of research and, did Google definitions or whatever. In a nutshell, mindfulness is basically being consciously aware of the moment that you're currently in. So there's several different ways you can practice being mindful, but the way that I've done research and the way that I practice, my mindfulness is through meditation. It just makes me presently aware of that moment that I'm in, so I can really know what's going on in that moment. So with meditating, you basically have to be in a clear headspace, during that whole entire time. And if you're not used to meditating, it is something that you have to practice because it is hard. Even now I've been meditating for about 6 months now, but sometimes my mind still drifts off, but I know how to get my focus back to me being in that current state. So yeah, it definitely takes practice, but through meditation, it just makes me more self-aware of just what's going on, in my body, like what's going on my body, like what do I feel, like what do I sense going on around me, what do I hear. So it makes you really pay attention to the small nitpicky details that we currently overlook oftentimes as human beings because our minds are so distracted with the world and what's going on. And our phones, technology have really taken our minds for real when it comes to us really focusing on things that's happening around us. And I realized too, like, I always have been a mindful person since I was younger. And I actually did a video about this. I forgot which video it was, but I'll tag it. But I never knew the true term and definition of it. I didn't realize like it was actually me being mindful of like my surroundings and what's going on right in front of me. And I would notice things more often than the average person wouldn't notice. Like I could be standing right next to a person and I could hear somebody arguing about to get into a fight from afar, but I'll ask the person right next to me and they'll be like, and I'll be like, did you hear them? You hear them back there? And they like, no, what you talking about? What's going on? So I've always been able to pick up on stuff before other people did because I'm just always self-aware. But in my video, I talked about, I think that was established and developed out of fear, which is not good, but that's a way I know that I have been a very mindful person. But again, I used to think it was nosy, especially just other situations that would occur. Like I would consider myself to be nosy, or maybe other people consider me to be nosy, but I just always wanted to know just what. And sometimes it wasn't always with the best intentions, but when you incorporate mindfulness into your life, then it should always be with good intentions. Even if it is a negative situation, you're just making sure you're aware of what's going on around you and being present of how you feel in that moment. And it's not necessarily always so you can make sure you're good in situations. Yes, of course it's important for that, but also just being self-aware of who you are and how you feel and just everything like that. So like with my meditation, I normally do it when I wake up in the morning, and I do like guided meditation. I literally like go on a YouTube channel and do guided meditation, and I really enjoy the ones where they talk to me. If you're a beginner, that's really good to start with. Meditation practices where somebody's talking you through it, because that actually helps you stay on track and stay on focus and make sure you're presently aware, like in the moment that you're in. It helps you to not drift off, even though you still may drift off. Them talking, it's just the different things that they say, they can bring you back to where you need to be when it comes to thinking in that moment, whatever you need to be thinking about in that moment. So with the guided meditation, it basically allows me to be more aware of how I feel in my body, like especially when I wake up. It makes you just think versus just do, you know, the first thing you do is grabbing your phone and getting on social media. You don't even get time to accept the day, the new day that God just allowed you to have, you know? Like everybody doesn't get that opportunity. So, you know, it just allows you to be just appreciative of just being alive for another day for real. Like, and just being self-aware. So in the morning, like I do my guided meditation, and what really helps me is like when they're talking, they're saying things like, you know, just basically think about all the parts of your body, and they'll ask you like, your eyes are closed of course, but it's telling you to focus on your hands. So now you're closing your eyes, but you have a clear picture of you in this moment and how your hands are. You know what your hands are doing, but it's just like, they'll ask you like, how do your hands feel? Like stuff like that. Or, and then they say, move up to your shoulders. Do you feel anything in your shoulders? So it literally like brings your attention and allows you to be aware of what's going on like in your body, allows you to feel sensations that you probably would have ignored before, allows you to feel possibly any aches and pains that you may have, you know? So it just makes you so like self-aware, and I love it because I didn't really realize how important, you know, self-awareness was, because I've just been so distracted by turning around when I wake up, and the next thing I do is grab my phone, and literally my mind is straight to social media for the day, and it's not really healthy for our brains, but we've been so conditioned for so long. So definitely try to practice being mindful when you wake up, and whether it's through meditation or whatever practice you choose. Mindfulness will definitely help you like in a lot of areas of your life. And it also has helped me to like become better at decision making, because I pay attention to things. Like I'm very, I wouldn't say detail oriented, but I pay attention to the small little things that people may often overlook when it comes to business and just relationships, building relationships with people. Like I'm very aware, and I just have a strong discernment as well too. So all of that kind of ties in together too, because I also was going to bring up like intuition. Intuition kind of goes hand in hand with discernment. You being mindful will really get you in touch and in tune with your intuition, and we all have it in us, but sometimes we're so distracted that we tune it out, that we don't even know how to hear and feel our intuition when it's speaking to us, because it's going to speak to you. It's just a matter of, are you comprehending what your body's trying to tell you, or are you just ignoring it? So let me tell y'all about this little story. Now some of y'all gonna think it's a little crazy, whatever. It's pretty controversial, but you know, I speak my mind, so it don't really matter. I was meditating one day, and I actually talked about this on my Instagram. I had made a video, a story post on it. And I was meditating one morning, and this time I was meditating it was still on YouTube, but it was through the Calm channel. So you know the Calm app, they have a channel on YouTube, of course. So I'm gonna definitely insert a little piece of that clip, because I know I'm leaving out some very important details. It's gonna be a little bit controversial, but I don't care because that's what I'm here for. But no, so he had sent me a DM asking like, do I always hear God when I pray? So I'm like, no, I don't always hear God when I pray. You know, like I just be praying and talking, and you know, I don't hear God when I pray. But I told y'all before like how I hear God, you know, and it's not through my prayers or anything like that. But I was literally meditating. Okay, let me tell y'all. So after he sent me that message, he had ended up sending another message, and I didn't see it until like 2 hours later. So like before I even picked my phone back up, I was meditating before that. And during my meditation, it's so funny because I was like just doing something on YouTube. It was through the Calm channel on YouTube. Y'all know the Calm app, but yeah, it was their YouTube channel. So they have like this little meditation video up there where it's like, you know, somebody speaking in the background or whatever, but the actual visual of the video was just like a peaceful, calm lake or whatever, like with a grassy area or whatever. So, as I'm meditating, I'm kind of like putting myself like in that place. And, I actually like was feeling like I was there. I didn't even feel like I was home. It was crazy. But I was feeling like I was like there, like sitting right at the lake in the grass, like right in front of the lake. And as I was meditating, I was just having these different ideas, like, come up in my mind. But I try to keep my mind clear and as empty as possible when I'm meditating. But sometimes my mind will drift off and I try to bring it back. So I just kept having these little like visuals pop up. So like one of the visuals was like as I was sitting there meditating by myself, I just had like random people like coming up around me. Like one person would come sit down next to me at a time, then another person, and then before you know it, like the whole grassy area is filled with people like meditating. Like, it was just weird. How you think of random stuff. And then I would start thinking of this movie where these people was like out in the mountains by themselves, and he came and randomly killed them. So I tried to hurry up and get out of that thought. And then it brought me back to a thought of people just coming and sitting down next to me and like meditating and joining in with me. So out of nowhere, like all those people. And then another one popped up in my head, and it was actually like a visual of God coming and sit next to me. God, Jesus, or whoever you want to call it, came and sat next to me. So, like the picture of Jesus that you see, like when you go places, of the white Jesus and stuff like that. So that was the first person that came and sat next to me. But then my mind kind of like scribbled, like it was almost like my mind didn't want to see that picture of that particular image of Jesus. So my mind kind of like took that away. And then like out of nowhere, like I guess I was looking for another like God to walk up to me and sit next to me. And the person that walks up and sat next to me and tapped me on the shoulder was me, y'all. It was me. Look, and I'm getting a little emotional, like thinking about that, because it was just so crazy. So I'm saying all of this to say, like, for me to pick up my phone after I finished meditating and to go to my, messages and go to my DM and seeing that boy, like the first message that pops up and says, "You are God." Like it's so crazy. Like for me to be looking for an image of God after that image of Jesus that like my mind was trying to not let me see, and like another like God or whoever like higher figure was supposed to come next, and it was myself. And then for him to say, "You are God," it was just so crazy. So I don't know. And in the book that I'm just reading, it just kind of aligns with all of that. Like we literally do have like, we are gods ourselves, and we have like our own like image of God within us. It is said mindfulness improves your overall well-being. It increases the ability to regulate your stress, emotions, decrease your stress, anxiety, and depression. All of that, I know some of y'all probably think that's crazy, but it literally makes sense to me. It's like once you are mindful, you're not just mindful of your surroundings, like it allows you to become more self-aware. And when you're self-aware, you're able to control the way that you feel. And that stuff is easier said than done, but it really takes practice, because when you're self-aware and you know that only you can control your mind and only you can allow things to settle in your mind, like you only control the way that you feel. Nobody else can. I don't know what anybody, it doesn't matter what anybody else does to you. It may have an effect on you naturally because that's what you're used to, but again, only you control your mind. So if you let somebody make you upset, are you in control of yourself, or are you allowing that person to be in control of you? Ding. Look, a bell should have went off right there. Ding. Because we're not letting people control who we are and how we feel about things and how we choose to make decisions and how we react. Only we can do that, because once we are in control and we're able to do those things of ourselves, then nobody can get us out of our character and get us out of who we truly are. But when you're distracted by all of these things, cell phones, other people, TV, your own mind, like your own mind can be distracted by. But once you get past that, you'll be able to control the way you process information, the way you think, the way you feel. Literally, like I said, nobody can be in control of you but you. The only way they can be in control of you is if you allow them to. But that's why you have to practice being mindful so you know who you truly are and how you feel. So now, this is the last thing I wanted to discuss with you guys because, again, I do a lot of research, especially when it's something that I'm trying to work on, with myself. I do a lot of research and a lot of things that probably didn't make sense to me before, or I was just too childish, too immature to even want to sit down and really understand things for what they were. I do a lot of research now to really understand these things, and they make sense to me now. So it's my job to communicate this information to you guys because you may not be in that headspace right now to be in control and be mature enough to sit down and do the research and know what's for you or what's not. And I'm not here to tell you what's for you or what's not. You are only able to tell you that, but you'll be able to feel it. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, then it's not meant for you to feel, but there's people that will agree, and that's another thing. That should be another bell that's going off in your head, because that's how I was able to see things a lot clearer now, because I wasn't able to just guide myself into this state. I had to get help along the way, and I didn't realize that I needed help from other people until I really sat down and realized what I want and started to reach out. But let me not get too far off. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to discuss with y'all. So I ended up reading this article about mindfulness. So I was researching the importance of mindfulness, and I overcame this article. So this article was listed on this website called the Good Men Project. And the article is called What Children Can Teach Us About Mastering Mindfulness. And the writer is Jeff Hayward, if y'all want to go and look that up. But and I really advise y'all to, because I'm only picking out certain details that move me from it. But try reading it yourself, because literally, like, as I was reading the article, I started to get very, very emotional, because we have become so far distant of who we really are supposed to be in this world. And we've been affected by just so many things, just growing up a certain way and just seeing certain things that, probably we weren't supposed to see, or, just being in an environment. So it's just like, I don't know, I got really, really emotional reading this too. Also because I have a daughter, and it made me think, like, what can children teach us about being mindful? So let me tell you things that I pulled from it. So basically, the writer, he has a 5-year-old son, and he was just talking about the different ways he observed mindfulness in his son. And when his son goes through like tough times, or he gets sad about something, possibly at school, his son does not dwell on the situation that happened, and he usually tends to forget whatever happened quickly. Now, you guys know, us as adults, us growing up, possibly, we get into an argument with somebody. If somebody cut us off on the expressway, if somebody yell at us, we tend to hold on to that feeling we received from that one situation, and we hold on to it for hours, for days, and we really let it mess us up on the inside. And I can definitely agree to that, because I'm definitely, and I'm not gonna say because I'll say I'm used to, because I'm working on it, but I have been a person to hold grudges. And if somebody pisses me off, I literally will dwell on the situation for a long time and just be upset with that person, and sometimes want revenge, just literally letting that just soak into my brain, and just literally letting that take over me, so it's just like, sometimes, how people say, leave your drama at home and blah, blah, blah. Like, when it's something going on at home, or somebody made you feel some type of way, sometimes people carry that stuff on throughout their day, and then they pass that on to other people. So now we got one mad person making another person mad. And you know what? That's another thing when it comes to the law of attraction too. Like you are what you attract. You attract what you are. And it's just like, people pass on energies, whether it's positive or negative. Energies are passed on. So we really have to be mindful of that. So the dad also said, in situations like those, he really envies his son, because the 5-year-old boy literally does not focus on things that he cannot change. He can't can't change what just happened, why he was sad for whatever reason from school. Nothing can be changed. He just accepts it for what it is and he moves on. He doesn't think about it anymore. Something of his past. And I know y'all are probably thinking, that's just a child. That's what children do. That's what children do, but that's what we're all supposed to do. But we've been raised up in this world and conditioned in a way to believe that we're not supposed to be mindful of the situations that in and let them go when they happen. It's nothing else that we can do about it. Why are we still holding on to it? Why? But that holding on to things like that just causes more anger and frustration, which leads to violence, and people really have to understand that. That his son literally lives in the moment. He only focuses on what's happening at that particular time. And he said he doesn't worry about a bad encounter that he may previously had with a kid, like I just said. And what also stuck out to me, which really had me like sitting there for a minute thinking, I couldn't even continue reading because I was just thinking so hard. But he said, don't confuse a bad moment with a bad person. And I was like, wow. Don't confuse a bad person with a bad moment. And I'm just like, I know a lot of people do this. I feel like the whole entire world does this, except for the people that are extremely mindful and really shrug stuff off like that. But a lot of times, we have these bad moments with people, and we just automatically think like that this is a bad person. Now, granted, definitely you have to be aware of what's going on around you. Don't be oblivious to situations going on happening in your face, but I don't know. It was just like, don't confuse a bad moment with a bad person. And everybody's not a bad person. And I can't believe that I'm saying that. But it's true though. It's true. But once you start to mentally grow and just mature a lot more, you'll realize like everybody's not a bad person. And we shouldn't allow the bad things that people do to say that this is who they are. Because again, people change all the time. Like I done made a ton of changes in my life. I'm pretty sure it's people of my past that probably feel like they probably have a lot of things to say about me, but they can't speak on who I am right now because that's not me anymore. So anything dealing with Brittany of the past is so irrelevant, so irrelevant. So that right there, I don't know, that one just really hit me in a different way. So crazy. But yeah, y'all think about that. Let that one sink in and tell me what y'all think. Tell me in the comments below how y'all feel about that comment in particular. Don't confuse a bad moment with a bad person. So also, another point, the 5-year-old boy, he's open to new experiences and new things. So pretty much in a nutshell, you guys know how you grow up and maybe your mama didn't like certain things, or your mama was scared of spiders, or your dad did this. Like, it's so many examples I could use. So let's say your dad was a carpenter and he ended up stepping on a nail in his work boot and it went through his foot. Now, if you ever had any intentions of being a carpenter, or that came about in your life and the opportunity presented itself, you're probably like, oh, I don't ever want to be a carpenter because my dad had a bad experience when he was a carpenter and I don't want to ever experience that. But it's just like, who's to say that is going to happen to you? But that's how experience of your past affects who you are in that present moment. And just another thing, like how we raised up thinking we don't like certain things because maybe our parents didn't like them, like certain foods, or we didn't like doing certain activities just because our parents didn't like them. Like, that has nothing to do with us, quite frankly. It really doesn't. But he brought up something like such a great example, which really stuck out to me. It's just like, okay, as a child, you know, children, they're fearless. They will do anything. And they see a spider on the wall and they're trying to go see what it is and discover it. And that's my daughter. Like, my daughter saw a little bug on the ground and she was trying to grab the bug, and I'm freaking out again because I've been conditioned to believe that when I see a bug, I don't like bugs. I don't want to deal with bugs. But she doesn't know no better because she's just now experiencing seeing bugs outside and she wants to play with them and just do all these things. But I feel like if I show that I'm scared when it comes to certain things like that, like if I see a spider and I scream and she's looking at me like, well, why are you screaming? So the next time she sees a spider, guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna scream. That's how they are conditioned into believing that they don't like certain things. You know, that's an experience or a situation that they have dealt with previously in their life. So now moving forward, they're like, okay, well, my mama don't like this, so I don't like it either. But he said his son literally does anything because he doesn't have this preconceived notion in his mind about the new experience. He just goes for them because he just has no reason to doubt that they'll be fun. He was never shown anything to believe that they're not fun. That's why you're just supposed to allow children to do them. Just because we don't like something, that doesn't mean our children will. So I think us as adults and parents, we need to not put our fears on our children. Simple as that. We make a mistake thinking we will know how things go based on our past experiences. So that's how we we're able to deny ourselves of experiencing amazing things when you have kids in turn, you know, who are open to every new opportunity that's presented to them. So another major point that he brought up is having a strong sense of wonder. So you know how everywhere we go, let's say we go to a nice place and, you know, just the aesthetic of the place is very, very nice. And you know what? Social media has really made us become these people too. But even younger, you know, we always had cameras and stuff. When we go to a nice place, first thing we want to do is what? Take pictures. We just want to take pictures because it just looks so beautiful and so amazing that we don't even really get to take in and embrace the moment and really like just feel ourselves in that moment. But when he compared it to his son, he was like, of course, you know, at the end of the day, he's a child, but still, let's not think about it like that. His child is like, I don't need to take a picture at this moment. I just take it in, I embrace it, and this is what it is, and I move on. But sometimes we try to take pictures so we can hold on to these memories and look back, but we're not even really enjoying the experience while we in the moment at the time, you know? And that's just another thing about being mindful. Like, just really sit there and take it in. We're in such a fast society, and you know, this was me too. Like, I feel like I had to take pictures of everything, and sometimes now I still do that, but after going through all this, I'm gonna be very careful about how I move now and how mindful I am in every situation. But yeah, just kind of sit in and just breathe in and take in a moment and just be appreciative of just everything around you. So what robs us of our mindfulness? How do we grow up and let all these years go by and we lose our self-awareness? We lose our awareness of our surroundings. We just slowly start to lose that. So in the article, he definitely says we start to grow up, inevitable responsibilities are starting to get thrown at us, which is completely understandable, completely agreeable. Now, just to go into detail about these inevitable responsibilities, when we start to get jobs, so now we allow somebody to create a schedule for us. Now we have to follow somebody's schedule that's been created for us. We're expected to achieve certain milestones. We're expected to reach a certain level of success, and we're expected to worry about our appearance. You know, I can't even say I'm opposed to any of that because it's so true. And I am such a reflection of those things as well, because literally, like, once life begins, it begins, and this is what it is, and our mind really gets taken off of who we are. We don't even know who we are anymore because we have allowed other people to dictate our lives. That's why I know we have to be in control of us and really understand truly who we are. It will just make the world go round. Like, you won't be accepting of a lot of the things that you are accepting of, and that's a guarantee for sure. Like, now, the things that I used to feel like I would tolerate and put up with, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm turning into a free spirit, but I'm just not with society's rules and how society expect us to be. I'm just not with it anymore. I'm really not. And I think slowly but surely as time goes on, it'll start to show. It'll start to show. Not just internally, but externally as well. But that's a whole nother video for another day. So he says, early on, we're not taught to enjoy the experiences and the importance of those experiences. Having things measures our success, and that means always thinking of ways to get to the next dollar. And he also mentioned, what is the word? Hustle, something like a hustle society or a hustle. It's a tough world we live in, guys. But we really need to take over our own world. Like, I'm so sick of this. Oh my God, people just stop following everybody else's orders and rules. Do your own thing. The world would be such a better place. All you gotta know is God got you, but a lot of y'all too scared to really sit down and understand that. But to finish this off, he also talked about letting go of judgment. And I think this is the first step to really helping us become more mindful of who we are and the situations that we are placed in. He says, don't judge your thoughts as they occur, as they happen, as they pop up in your mind. Just allow them to be. Don't judge what you naturally think, because that's naturally who you are. A lot of times we often ignore our natural thoughts because of what's going on around us, or what people may say, or how somebody may look at us, or how somebody may judge. You know, like, we ignore our thoughts that really tells us the story of us and who we are. And our subconscious minds have definitely been trained based on habit, which are likely bad habits. He also says, slow down and breathe, observe, and don't let judgment future experiences. Now, let's say that again. Slow down and breathe, observe, and don't let judgment cloud your future experiences. Did y'all take that in? Because, yeah, connect with your inner child, the one that was born mindful before being disrupted by worldly things. So, you know, I'm going to end it with that. You know, that's all things mindfulness. Definitely pay attention, be more aware of you, the people around you, what's going on around you, what's going on far away from you. Just pay attention. And when you start to really like pay attention to certain things, it'll really help your own mind out in a lot of ways. But thank you so much again, guys, for joining and tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Becoming Brittany J. And again, new videos are posted weekly on Sundays. And I'll see you guys again next week on Sunday. Peace.